Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Loren Howard of Prime Plus Mortgages. Loren, it's awesome having you on the show.
I appreciate you having me. Really excited to be here.
No problem. Super excited to have you on as well, too. And before we jumped in, I want to read a little bit more about Loren so you can hear about all the awesome things that he's doing. And Loren is the founder and president of Prime Plus Mortgages, a private money loans company. Loren, who is a serial entrepreneur, loving father and husband, boasts a portfolio of multiple successful companies, world records, and decorated football career. He's a coveted world record holder for indoor rowing in the 500 meter, 100 meter, and max distance in 1 minute. Additionally, Loren proudly serves as the president of the Valley Gardens, a 501c3 charity that runs on $0 operating budget that offers mentorship, leadership, and educational opportunities to underprivileged children in Phoenix, Arizona. Loren, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
Absolutely. I like that bio right there. I'm about to use that. Where'd you get that from?
Exactly. You're doing so many awesome things. It's hard to keep up with everything that you're doing. But I love how you're putting a dent in the universe, so to speak.
Trying, man. Trying. One day at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to kind of rewind the clock a little bit, hear a little bit more on how you got started. Could you take us through what I call your CEO story? We'll let you get started with your businesses.
Yeah, sure. Growing up, I always been an athlete, like playing football. So I was an All-American in high school and a blue chip, and went off to play football at Northwestern in college. Kind of got there thinking I'd go to Northwestern because I had offers all over the country. Could have gone to Miami, could have gone to Nebraska, could have gone to Michigan, could have gone to USC. But I didn't start playing football until my sophomore in high school, so I didn't really know I was going to be football really hard to do. Leave the faith, figured I'd get a good education and play some Big Ten football. But I got there, I was starting on day 2 in camp. I was Big Ten defensive freshman of the year, freshman All-American. I was all same year that Maurice Claret was the Big Ten offensive freshman of the year, and I was a Big Ten defensive freshman of the year. And so it took off, and football was going to be the ticket from there out. And my sophomore year came out, I was all conference, just kind of dominated. It did really, really well. Going into my junior year, Mel Kiper had me being ranked as the second DN to go in the draft. This is preseason, obviously, right? It was the same class as Mario Williams and Matthias Kiwanuka coming out of Boston College. And I'm going, I think, 10th. Mario ended up going first in the draft, and then I am getting hurt. And I got hurt that's going into week. I came back 6 weeks later, probably too fast. Developed really bad knee tendonitis that never healed up. Played the last 6 games, and then my knee never really got better. I tried to get it healthy, and I came into camp the following year, couldn't play. I had to have surgery again, and transferred to ASU. So all of a sudden, my football career, I never thought that I would do anything. And so I was going to start a business with a friend of mine, and we decided to start like a supplement manufacturing line with a sexual enhancement product, and I kind of call that my MBA. I borrowed $5,000 from 3 different uncles, and so we both put $15,000 into the pot. And keep in mind, I never had a sales job before in my life. I talked very fast and mumble. I was an athlete. I was a smart guy. I was a driven guy, but no business background. My mom was a teacher, substitute teacher. Dad wasn't really around a whole lot. We grew up pretty humble. We, you know what I mean. And so, I didn't have a business background, money background. So decided to go start a business. It's a little bit of an ass backwards way of doing things. Usually you get out of the business world and the sales world and kind of figure it out. But that wasn't a path for me. And we learned a lot through that process. I didn't learn how to do it. So we were thinking we were going to sell this thing online, kind of like the Enzyte model. Remember that mail enhancement product Enzyte back in the day with the free trial and the rebill. And so, we thought, well, once we launched the website and make it go live, that all of a sudden traffic. Yeah, we did that in the we built a website with a guy in India. I don't know how long you go into the story. I could abbreviate. Company that's building the website, and I became really close with him, and actually hired him away. He left the company because the head guy was an asshole, and and we had built a relationship. So he kind of went dark on me. I hit him up and asked him what was going on. He told me the story. So I sent him like, I think $250 just to take care of him because he's a friend of mine. He was down and out, and we became really, really tight from that. And so from there, we decided to partner up, and he would set up an office over there, and I would get out there and try to sell the websites, packages, and SEO packages, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of my second venture in the business. And really, I got into a BNI networking group there, which is how, and it was one of those deals where you just like, you crack a sale and you can like pay your rent that month. You know what I mean? It's just, it was a struggle. And, you know, he's on the other side, a young guy in India, set up an office and trying to manage that. And I'm running the front here. And it was just, you know, it was a struggle, but it was fun, you know, and I still have a relationship with, his name's Ajay to this day. I had never met him personally, but we were like brothers, and he actually came out to my wedding 4 years ago. I got to meet him for the first time, and we haven't done business together probably in 10 years, but we just have the kindred spirits. And so from there, I met a guy that kind of taught me the lead generation business. And so I started generating leads through call centers. So I'd go find call centers on LinkedIn or on Skype in the Philippines and India. And then they were generating like call verified leads or live transfers, right? And I would go and find buyers, and I'd link them up, and I'd make $1 or $2 a lead. Hold on, I don't know what happened here. You can hear me okay? There, yeah. Sorry. So then I started making money doing that. Then I found a guy who let me license his lead exchange platform. Mm-hmm. So I kind of became like a lead brokerage, and that's kind of where I really started making good money. I made my first $1 million. I was probably 26, 27 years old. Mm-hmm. Scaled that business to about $2 or $3 million in revenue out of my guest room by myself, and all my employees were virtual, mm-hmm. In other countries managing these things. And then I got involved into a compounding pharmacy, and the compounding pharmacy did really, really well. We did, eight figures in like 15 months. It was so then from there I started investing my money into real estate and started lending it out into the hard money space. That's how I learned about hard money. And then the compounding world kind of disintegrated because I stopped paying for compounds, and I got into the lending space and into the real estate investment space and into the day trading space, which is what I do now. I came from having 170 employees in 40 states in a 10,000 square foot facility, having to go to the office every day, which comes with a lot of stress, comes with a lot of responsibility. And now I work from home and my employees are virtual. The business is really systematized. So I have the time, I have a 1-year-old son now, and spend with my family, spend with my wife, and to really live the lifestyle that I want to have the time that I want to, which I think is important for me, at least. That's kind of where that's my journey up to now. So I kind of packed in, I don't know, a good 15 years into however long that was.
In a couple of minutes. Now, I definitely appreciate you for synthesizing that and getting that down, so that we can hear, the journey. So many times we just see the finish line or where a person is. We don't see the process that it takes to get there. And so I wanted to ask you now for a little bit more about your business. Could you take us through how you serve your clients, what exactly that process is, and what you feel kind of is your secret sauce, or the thing you feel kind of sets you or your organization apart?
Yeah, sure. Good question. So for me, hard money loans, it's an asset-based loan, right? It's a short-term asset-based loan that people use to acquire investment properties. Mm-hmm. So they want to go buy a property from a wholesaler or a pre-foreclosure, and they need to close in a week. They come to us, and we don't pull credit. We don't run background checks. We just purely lend on the asset value, and it's only on investment properties. And so what sets us aside a little bit is it is a little bit of a commoditized business, but we're very quick, right? Like, I'm the owner of the company. I have one partner who's a 25% partner who's was 50-50 partner in the bank, but we have two lending arms. One of them I own, and then he owns half of the other one. And mm-hmm. So he actually, but we make fast decisions. I mean, we're able to get an answer within an hour and a half. We tend to be a little bit more aggressive sometimes on our terms because we really know the wholesale values of the properties. And it's customer service. We want to get to know our clients and follow up. And I think when you're in a business that can be slightly commoditized, the level of service and speed is what's going to usually set you aside, I think. And I think that's what we do a really good job of. Our systems, our operations, our response times. Catherine, our SEO girl, does an amazing job. We rank for all the top keywords locally here. We only land in Arizona. And so I think that's kind of what sets us aside,
Yeah,
also,
absolutely.
One other thing too is it's all our own money. It's me, my partner's money, or it's bank lines of credit. So a traditional hard money lending fund typically has a Reg D private placement memorandum, which they raise private funds, right? So they have investors to speak to. They have to deal with, if people want redemptions, raising more money, deploying that money. So we tend to have a little bit, be a little bit more nimble in that aspect because it's all our own cash, or it's our lines of credit with banks that we're personally guaranteed on. And so because of that, we can make faster and more efficient decisions, and it's less management from us having to try to manage with a fund or investor. So
yeah, anytime you have so many more people that have a voice, so to speak, it becomes a lot more red tape. And it kind of reminded me of Madden. Every time I played Madden, it would say speed kills. And that sounds like it's relevant as well, too, as you start to see every business commoditize, the faster and quicker you're able to kind of communicate, provide quality service, and do that at a quicker pace. That definitely provides a great way to kind of break through the noise. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO hack. So this might be an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but what's something that makes you more effective and efficient?
yeah, that's a good question, man. I think a lot of times it depends on where you're at in your CEO journey, but I definitely think like having a good routine, like a good morning routine. Like for me, I get up and I meditate. I have a hyperbaric chamber that I sit in for an hour, and then I work out. Like, and depend, when you're going through stressful times, or you're in a startup environment, or you need to have the right routines and qualities. You need to read the right things, do the right things for your mind, your brain, because that's going to be your fuel, man. And it's hard to get through tough times and tough situations, and even good ones, without optimizing your and it starts with your overall physical health, right? It's what you put in your body. It's your sleep, it's your meditation, it's your reading, and it's having, I think, that balance to be able to fuel you for the day. So what I would say is get into the habit of having your Tony Robbins calls it your power hour. There's plenty of words for it, but just having that routine in the morning that feeds you the energy you need for the day to be able to attack that day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he says too is in order to win the day, you got to win the morning. And a lot of times when you win that morning, you understand what exactly success looks like. It powers yourself, through that day. And I think that's absolutely powerful. So I love that hack. And so now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. So this could be a word of wisdom or piece of advice. If you were to hop into a time machine, you might tell this to your younger business self.
It's a little bit of Jim Rohn had a quote that always stuck with me that was, a lot of the times, more often than not, the qualities that get you to where you're trying to go are not the same qualities that are going to help you enjoy it when you're there, if that makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. So, I see a lot of guys and it's good to be ambitious and continue to go for bigger and better and greater goals, but I also think it's important to recognize maybe some of the unhealthy characteristics that might have led you to success, the unbalance, the neglect of other areas of your life, because you develop these habits, and then you get to a place where you're successful and you have the money, you have the resources, and you have the time, but you don't have the skill set mentally or psychologically to enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think sometimes you can always kind of reassess where you're at, where you came from, where you're trying to go, and the mentality and skill sets that kind of got you there, because I think those, you want to be able to enjoy your life and have balance. And sometimes, I know for me, I was super unbalanced and super single-minded, super focused on where I was going, and almost selfish in a sense. And I had to reflect on that and figure out. And now I'm where I want to get, where I wanted to go, to be able to enjoy that and smell the roses, I guess.
Yeah, that's extremely powerful. And I think so many times, especially with your ambitious and you're driven, you kind of can lose the process to the goal over why exactly you're even doing the goal. So that's why I love when you talked about, your wife and your son, because I think it's so important to be able to stay focused and understand why we're doing what we're doing. And you still want to drive towards that, but let's, try not to forget exactly why we're doing all those aspects and kind of putting in all those hours and that work towards that goal.
Exactly, man. Exactly. It's yep.
Awesome. So now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So Loren, what does being a CEO mean to you?
I think being a CEO kind of is knowing, like, really, it's a journey of knowing yourself, right? Knowing your management style, knowing your leadership style, and then be able to play into your strengths, knowing your personality style, knowing what drives you. And then for me that I try to, and I came from having 100 employees in a bunch of different states to to have all my employees virtual. And what I realized that I enjoy doing is building and developing and coaching my people. You know what I mean? And genuinely having their best interests at heart and helping them grow. And I get the biggest satisfaction and fulfillment when I'm able to take someone who I see the raw talent and then help them find and educate them to blossom, if that makes sense, right? And then you see them blossom, and then you watch a fire get lit under their ass, and then you watch how it carries over into all different other aspects of their life, and you kind of watch this thing, this person mature. Example, I think it's this interview of just too fulfilling for me. So I think for me, it's using your talents and your abilities to help people like grow and achieve their full potential, and then the beauty of watching that happen. That's really cool for me these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you said, it's extremely powerful. Obviously, we love to reach and hit goals ourselves, but when you're able to kind of coach, as you said, and really see people on your team be able to do that as well too, sometimes that's more exciting than you doing it yourself, because you see kind of, like you say, that kind of raw clay, so to speak, end up being molded into a phenomenal products. And so, Loren, truly.
But also on that question, I will say is the fringe benefit and the byproduct of that is that they help you achieve the company's success and your success as well. But if that's not the ultimate goal, your goal is really to help them grow, then you'll reap the benefits, the reward as a fringe benefit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I don't know, I forgot who, it might be Jim Rohn, where somebody says you help enough people get what they want, then you start to get what you want. And I think it starts to create that cyclical kind of energy towards you reaching goals and smashing your goals, because at the end of the day, it's hard to be successful by yourself. You need a team in order to do and make that happen.
No doubt.
Awesome. Well, Loren, truly appreciate your definition. I appreciate your time even more. What I wanted to do is pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and listeners know, and of course, how best they can get a hold of you and find out about all those things you and your team are working on.
I'm trying to think of, one thing that always comes to mind is I've never known a successful entrepreneur that didn't like read all the time. They're always on a constant quest for knowledge. So I would recommend to get in the habit of reading daily, and not use the stigma that we get generated in school of, I hate to read, but really get out there and educate yourself, because you're going to turn on light bulbs. As far as things that, I run a charity that I started with some friends down here. We've raised like about $1.4 million in the last 4 years, and we give all of the money we raise to different kids in need here in the Valley of Arizona. And that's kind of my passion project and my operating business, which I'm really enjoying. And it's called Valley Guardians. You can go to valleyguardians.org and find out what we're all about. You can find me on Loren Howard 66 on Instagram, or Loren Howard on Facebook, or on Twitter. But but it's been really cool. I love coaching people. I love helping, I love giving advice. I love taking advice too. So I'm a very approachable person, and I know I'm always trying to constantly learn and improve and get better and help others do the same. So if anyone wants to reach out, I'll be very responsive, and I'm always here.
Awesome. Thank you again, Loren. We will have those links and information in the show notes for the organization, as well as your social media links and for your company as well. But I appreciate you again for coaching us up and, giving us so much words of wisdom and insight. And we will have all that information in the show notes as well too. And I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
It's been a pleasure, brother. Thanks for having me, man.